Today on Critical Issue, a look at the job crisis in America in 3 ways: how it affects the nation as a whole, how it will affect the 2012 elections, and President Obama's re-election campaign. Also, we'll discuss bipartisanship within the U.S. government and how it has changed in current politics. And we'll also talk about the Tea Party and the 2012 elections. Can they take office? Today we'll talk to our roundtable, and we welcome Pat Sullivan, our political science major, Chris Massaro, our ICTV News chief political correspondent, and Kenny Reichman, a freshman here at Iona, your first time on the show. Kenny, welcome. And welcome to a brand new season. It's our season premiere of Critical Issue on ICTV. I'm Richard Giacovas, your host and moderator. Well, the season is truly brand new because Critical Issue has gotten a new look. Really? As you can see all around this new set, we have new graphics, but the same old hard-hitting news show you love. How corny is this script? But anyway, with 9.2% of Americans currently unemployed and what seems to be no turn for the better, we'll look at 3 different aspects of the job crisis, guys. That's what we're going to start with today. Chris, let's start with you. How does this affect the U.S. economy as a whole, as far as the job crisis?
Well, consumer confidence is at, I think, a record low. Consumer spending is at record lows, and that's what basically drives the economy. So when people don't have money to spend, the economy's not going to go anywhere. And people don't hire anybody, so nobody's going to be getting jobs, and that's why we're currently in the mess that we are in right now.
All right, Kenny, what do you think needs to be done to get people working?
Well, what needs to be done is they need to do a total reform of what the economy is right now. It's just clearly not working. There's not enough jobs out there, and when there's no jobs, nobody's going to spend their money on simple things like any small businesses are not going to be able to survive in this economy right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, how do various job plans, let's say GOP candidates Mitt Romney, compare to Obama's plan, Chris?
Well, basically what this election and what their plans come down to is Obama represents more spending, plugging it into the economy, which we've realized hasn't worked. I mean, it hasn't worked throughout history. I don't know why they think it's going to work now. Versus the GOP candidates who want to reduce spending, reduce taxes, and reduce regulation to open up the markets for businesses to expand.
All right. Well, Pat, will ending the job crisis, you think, fix the economy and return the U.S.? Because, we had a huge economic strength.
Yeah, I would say, obviously, in order to regain our status as an economic superpower, one of the first things we need to do is take care of our jobs. There's a lot of ways you can go about doing it, and a lot of candidates have different plans, but the one thing that's even more important to realize is, as we all know, the growing influence of China. Where most American-based companies and products are fashioned there, that means less job for Americans, but I still think there's still some jobs we could find here in America that we could work on that just not many people have really decided to look on. I mean, as a whole, I mean, we still have plenty of poverty and homeless people in various places. I feel like if we could find some way to maybe build programs to help and solve the interior problem of homelessness and poverty.
Well, it's important to know overseas to China and India and zero corporate tax rate. Here we have one of the highest corporate tax rates in the world. It's important, and President Obama has parts of Europe and Southeast Asia and South America. It's very, very high.
What did you think, Chris, of his recent speech to the American people?
I thought it was the same over and over again, nothing new. It was mainly political. It was a start for his re-election campaign.
Exactly. The rate was a little bit lower when he first came into office, but no confidence in him, and I don't think he has a chance of being reelected.
Well, maybe this is the key stat that we should all take a look at. No president has ever been reelected with the unemployment rate over 8%. It's 9.2%. How many of us think it's going to go any
well, you're wrong about that because during Reagan's presidency, the unemployment was higher at 10.2%. It was
in 1982.
But Reagan was reelected in 1984.
Yes.
Okay. So
but the unemployment rate was lower. They got it lower to below 8%.
But it was higher at 10.2%. Reagan was reelected in 1984.
In that time, it was around 11%, but that was all the turmoil during the Carter administration with the high inflation.
So when he was reelected, do you know when it was?
It was below 8%, yes.
It was below 8%
yes.
when he was, okay.
Yes.
So how does, but again, let's just hypothetically say that the unemployment rate, even though it doesn't seem likely, is lowered below 8% at the time of his reelection.
Will he be reelected?
Yes.
If history repeats itself like it always does, I might be more inclined to say yes, but right now it doesn't look like that.
It also depends on GOP candidates as well. Okay. The president has presented the jobs bill to Congress, currently being looked at. He's called it insurance against a double-dip recession in the U.S. So how could this work?
Well, I mean, insurance or not, I mean, we've had plenty of so-called insurance plans to protect things like this from happening. I mean, the only real success we've ever had of getting out of such a depression like this was the Great Depression and also gas crisis in the 70s. But I mean, just because you make insurance or put money aside just in case something goes wrong doesn't mean that solves the problem. The real insurance needs to be going back, looking at history, and realize the mistakes we made. Look at all the bad investment, the housing bubble. Have certified people, economists, right? Economists, right. Study these things in order to try to find a trend or a pattern, because, as you say, history does repeat itself, but I mean, if we don't learn from our mistakes, then we're just going to be doomed anyways.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Keep an eye on it. Election's still a long while away. We'll have it covered for you here over the summer. We saw a lot of battling back and forth between parties on various issues, and neither side was willing to compromise, as usual. So is bipartisanship in Washington dead? That's the question, Kenny.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not a question about it. No, both parties cannot swallow a little bit of their pride and gain a lot instead of giving up a little. It's more than dead. I see no signs of it coming back to life either.
Well, is it good for two parties to be so passionate about their beliefs and they're not willing to compromise?
Absolutely not.
No.
There's no chance. I mean, when it comes to America nowadays, you have your Republicans and your Democrats that are always constantly at each other's throats. They're much more concerned with their re-election or their party affiliation than they actually are with the American people. The problem is, I mean, let's go back, look at the debt crisis we had over the summer. We came this close to defaulting on our budget because everyone was so stubborn that, oh, we want to do it this way, we want to do it right way. The primary concern of any politician should be its constituents, and as a whole, Republican or Democrat, that's people of the United States. So therefore, I think that they should put them first, aside from their political agendas and affiliations, because...
Well, that's what they preach, though.
That's what they preach, but do they practice it? Hell no.
We got to remember here, we act as if bipartisanship or, you know, this hatred between the parties is a new thing. I mean, this goes back, you know, hundreds of years. You know, you had the isolationist Republicans against the Democrats who wanted to go to war in the 30s. You had the anti-South and anti-civil rights Democrats against the, you know, the Republicans in the 60s. You had the Newt Gingrich Republicans against the more liberal-leaning Democrats in the 90s. This is not a new thing. I think we can emerge out of it stronger. It might take something catastrophic again, like another crisis or perhaps even another terrorist attack, for us to realize that, though.
We won't want that. The Tea Party movement has become one of the most popular political movements in U.S. history. Most of well-known members are known for running for major political office, especially for the 2012 elections. Now, if the Tea Party is not successful in taking major positions of power in the U.S. government, could its power and popularity diminish? I don't think so. Anybody?
It depends on who gets elected. Obviously, if Obama gets reelected, the Tea Party is going to take a major blow. But we have to remember, not only do we have presidential elections in 2012, we also have senatorial campaigns. I think 4 Republicans are up, not 4, no, 23 Democrats are up for re-election next year. Republicans only need to win 4 to take the Senate. So,
well, you saw Anthony Weiner's seat was taken for a
Yes, and there was another seat in Nevada last night that was supposed to be taken by the Democrats, and it was won by the Republicans. So even if Obama does lose, it will be a blow, but they're still going to have control of the Congress, or a good segment of it.
Okay. Do you think that do you think that the Tea Party could become a completely different party all on its own and run as a third party?
No. I don't think the
They'll never be
Republican
able to do
establishment would let that happen.
Yeah.
Because then you'd have a fractionalized party.
Do you think that it hurts the Republicans at some points? I mean, go ahead, Ken.
I do. I mean, the Republicans should be focused enough on defeating the Democrats, but now they have to worry about defeating within their own party. They need to make sure the moderate or independent is leaning more towards just the Republican side and not towards the more conservative Tea Party side, and that's just going to split the vote within the Republican Party.
I think it's a good debate to have because it's important, because all these issues are very important, and the Tea Party has really focused in on it. But I think once the general election comes in, I think that the Tea Party has to vote for whoever the conservative candidate is, even if they have a few moderate to left-leaning policies, like Mitt Romney, who has the Romney care in Massachusetts.
Oh, God. that's a whole nother thing on its own. Mitt Romney is, as being from Boston, I know Mitt Romney all too well. I mean, he just loves having a nice little habit of, while we're dealing with the Big Dig, which is a big project in Boston to make highway more efficient that went on for about 18 years, most of my life there. Oh, while we're having crisis dealing with this financial, I'm going to go conveniently take a vacation to my summer house, and I'll let you guys figure it out. Thanks, Mitt Romney. You got my vote.
Well, then doesn't everybody deserve a vacation, though? Because they could criticize the president.
How many vacations has Obama taken to Martha's Vineyard?
Yeah.
I mean, same time. I mean, there's a time for vacation and there's a time for
how long did he go away on vacation?
It was a couple months at least. Like, I think
he went away he left office for a couple of months.
Well, he didn't leave office, but he was away on vacation, and then when he came back, sort of showed up a little bit every now and then, but didn't really have a strong position coming back for at least 3 months.
Well, now that Mitt Romney is obviously not your next president,
no chance.
Who would you like to say? And you could say President Obama to be reelected, or you could say one of the GOP candidates.
Honestly, I hate all of them.
Well, we need a president, Pat, unless you would like to be the president.
I think I should be the president, I could do a lot of bad, but a lot of good.
No vacations, then.
Yeah, no vacations. I don't need a vacation.
You can't pick a candidate? You can't pick one candidate?
Honestly, I mean, most of the Republicans I hate or don't know enough about. Obama has done virtually almost nothing. I mean, there's still time before the election, so I'm honestly hoping that some political maverick comes out of nowhere actually preaching something I like that might be good. Otherwise, is Nader still going? I'll toss my vote there.
There are a lot of GOP candidates besides Mitt Romney and Michelle Bachmann who are getting, all the press. John Huntsman. I mean, there are a lot of candidates that have some, not only conservative views and are kind of in the middle when it comes to social views. Do you have a candidate that
it's a two-man race between Mitt Romney and Governor Perry. I think Mitt Romney has the strongest command of the issues, and he looks like he's the best debater out there. But Rick Perry has this. Rick
Perry wants to do away with Social Security.
Well, I'm just talking about their president. I'm talking about their Well, not do away with Social Security, but he said some pretty harsh things that might scare people, and Mitt Romney has called him out on
I don't think he wants Social Security, so
you can never get rid of it, but he has said harsh things about it. But he has a presence out there that is comparable to Obama in the sense that he can draw a crowd and he can get a crowd going. They're the only two ones in this race that will have any traction.
So you're deciding between them. Will you vote Republican or Democrat?
Oh, definitely Republican, right. I can never pull myself to vote for.
Well, you know what you'll vote for yet? I forget you. Go ahead.
Rick Perry, he's got my vote already.
Really?
I mean, obviously there's still a lot of debating to go, but once Rick Perry came into this discussion, he threw his hat in the race a couple weeks ago, and Michelle Bachmann, who was number 2, took a huge hit and dropped down to 3 and barely is still in this race. Obviously, Romney's got some strong points against Perry. Perry's much more of a right-wing,
very right-wing,
hard guy. And
which is really, even though you have he's not going to get the independent vote.
No, he's not. He's not. But right now, actually, he might, because President Obama has come in and promised all these things and no results.
And he's lost all the independents.
Unfortunately, I don't even think he's going to get the nomination.
If you look at all the polls, Romney and Perry are very close to Obama right now. It'd be a toss-up. Maybe even a Republican would win right now.
Towards the end of President Bush's term, the middle right, middle left was all leaning left because they were tired of Bush and they were tired of everything he was doing. Obama comes in, makes all these promises, says he's going to do these things. Now the middle left, middle right, leaning back towards the right because they know there's no results. There's nothing that Obama has
said. It's an ongoing cycle.
As the political pendulum swings.
That's it. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you
for a good discussion. We'll see you back here next week for another episode of Critical Issue. Bye, everybody.